So today's topic is going to be on the security part. As you all know, security is the foremost thing in each and every application or site. So this is the most important topic of this session, cloud session. Like without security, nobody can move a single inch. So that's why this session is very much important. Um, so as you all know, right, how we can give the authentication and authorization, and based upon our access rules, we access such applications. So this part deals with that. So let's move ahead. So in this session, we are going to learn about Azure security features and Azure network security. So in security features, we have something called as Security Center and Resource Hygiene. So in security center, like we can see and we can perform all the activities related to security. And inside that, we have something called as Key Vault, Sentinel, and dedicated host. Coming to the Azure network security, we have something called as defense in depth, network security groups in firewalls, and DDoS protections. What are security tools and features available in Azure? So Azure has multiple security tools and features which are important for the policy compliance, and it also gives alerts. It has something called a secure score, like out of 1,000, how much percent is your system secure, something like that. It provides user an interface stating that your how secure is your application or the environment is. So yeah, coming to the Azure Security Center, it is a monitoring service that provides threat protection across both Azure and on-premise data centers. So as you all know, right, we can have our environments like on-premise environments as well as the cloud environments connected through Azure AD Federation services, so that we can connect to both on-premise servers as well as the on cloud resources. So what Azure Security Center provides is security recommendations. It provides recommendations where and all we can have changes or modification so that we can achieve 100% secure environment. It detects and blocks malware. So it gives you notification, and it detects malware in the environment as well as it blocks it. It analyze and identify potential attacks, if at all some unauthorized user is trying to um, like uh, do unauthorized access. So this security center analyzes it and identify it as a potential attack, and it gives just-in-time access control for ports. If someone from outside organization wants some access to your environment, so with the help of Azure Security Center, we can give that person the just-in-time access, providing his ports to be opened. So these are features for secure Azure Security Center. What are the capabilities of Azure Security Center? So Azure Security Center has policy compliance, continuous assessment, tailored recommendation, and threat protection. So as the name suggests, policy compliance is the feature in which Azure Security runs policies across management groups, subscriptions, or tenants, and make sure that all the policies are compliant based on the Azure compliance as well as the organization's compliance. So if there is something which is out of compliance, it will straight away alert to the respective admins saying that this compliance, there is some compliance issue, and get it rectified as soon as possible. So second thing is continuous assessment. So this Azure Security Center will do the assessment on continuous basis, whenever a new resource is deployed or already deployed resources are there. So if there is some configuration issues, so it will monitor it continuously, and if there is any like a discrepancy in the configuration, it will prompt like you have this issue, get it rectified. Similarly, it also gives tailor-made recommendation based upon the environment. It provides recommendations and instructions like if you do so and so, you will have a proper secure environment. So it also provides it is not like generalized recommendation, but yeah, it is like if an organization is using cloud and they have certain resources. So based upon their resources, it provides recommendations. So it provides threat protection as well. So like as I said, there is something unauthorized access or some malware or virus has attacked in the environment. It will provide protection on that threat. It analyzes attempted threat through alerts and impacted resource reports. So like it also provides report saying which resources are impacted and through which thread. So all these things we can access it through its report center. Next one is Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel is a security information management and security automated response solution that provides security analytics and threat intelligence across an enterprise. So as per the definition, it is like information and security system which provides reports, and it also has threat intelligence, so using which we can protect our enterprise in all the sectors, like it has connector integrations with Office 365, like our Outlook email, SharePoint, and all the Office 365 apps are protected through Azure Sentinel. It also provides threat protection for Azure Active Directory. It also provides Azure Advanced Threat Protections, and if there are some applications hosted in Microsoft Cloud, so it provides security to those as well. So what exactly Azure Sentinel does is, just a second. So it collects the data across the enterprise, like secure data from the enterprise. It detects it, investigates it, and responds to it. So in this circle, again, it will collect the data from the all the security data across the enterprise. Okay, so in this way, it collects the data from say some logs or something and detects it like which threat it is, investigates it and responds to it, whether we need to quarantine it or we can just let it go or something like that. So this kind of intelligence also provided by the Azure Sentinel. Next one is Azure Key Vault. So as you all are aware that there is something called as public key and private key. Azure Key Vault also provides this kind of feature. So like it comes under the security management, and sorry, it come under the secrets management. Like you can have a public key and private key, and you can give the users the public key and private key access, so that no, the application or the resource is highly secure and is intended to only authorized person. It also provides key management. It also provides certificates management. Who just joined?
Yeah, hi Deep, this is Sandeep.
Hi Sandeep, good evening. Sorry, we had to start.
No, no, no,
So
it's okay. Actually, I got late. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I just started the security part of Azure, and in that I have just covered the basic features of security features of Azure, and now I'm just covering Azure Key Vault.
Yeah, yeah. I will go to the recording the whatever is left. Okay.
Sure, Sandeep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, so like we have certificates installed in our applications, so we don't need to take care of any of the certificates if we are using any Azure applications. So it also helps in storing secrets backed by hardware security module. So there are some hardwares as well which require security modules. So Azure helps in providing secrets for these hardware security modules as well. So where you can find this, you can go to the Azure portal, and there you just need to type key vaults, and you need to create a new key vault. And here you need to select the resource group. I'm just selecting the existing one. I'm giving a test key vault. Okay. And reason I am selecting as it is. So next you can see the access policies. So there are like multiple access policies available. If you want to give access to Azure virtual machines for deployment, you can select that. If you want to give to any Azure resource manager or template deployment, you can give access to that resource. If you want access to Azure disk encryption for volume encryption, so you can select that. Also, there are two kinds of permission models available here. One is vault access policy, and other one is role-based access policy. So if I select role-based policy, then corresponding to a role, this key will be created. For timing, I am just selecting this. And if you can see, my name is by default selected here. And what are my permissions available? So I have get, list, update, create, import, delete, recover, backup, and restore. So these many key management accesses I have by default, and these are the secret permissions. So I can do all these things. You can see there is something called as purge. So in the database side, we do data purge. So if I have access using this key, if I have access for database purging, so I can do. Otherwise, if I don't have, I will not be able to do that. Next one is a certificate permissions. So again, I have these many certificate related permissions like manage certificate, get certificate, list certificate. So all those things I can do from here. Next is like we can also provide networking. It's like for public endpoint selected networks or private endpoints. If we want to give access to everybody in the internet, we can select public endpoint. If we want to like selected public networks, we need to select this public endpoint selected networks. And if we want to give within our organization or within the tenant, then we should select this private endpoint. Okay, and tags is like key value, you can give anything. And this is the validation. So if the validation is passed, we can create the key vaults. Okay, so if at all I have access to this key, then only I can perform. And we need to assign this key to any of the resource. Okay, so we can associate this key with any of the application. Based on that, based on my permissions and authorization, I can perform the activities which are provided in the access policies. Okay, next one is Azure dedicated hosts. So what are dedicated host means? So as you are aware, like in public cloud, the resources are being shared, but in some cases we don't want our resources to be shared by someone else. So what we do is we pay some extra amount to the cloud provider, and they provide us a dedicated resources like hardware resources like hard disk and network equipments and so on. So in this way also we can have our network secured, our enterprise secured. So as per the definition, Azure dedicated host provide physical server that hosts one or more Azure virtual machines that is dedicated to a single organization's workload. As I said, as a single organization, we can have a dedicated resources to host one or more Azure virtual machines so that it is not shared with someone else and security is intact. What are the benefits of using Azure dedicated host? First one is hardware isolation at the server level. So we are very much separated from the other candidates or other organizations, and we can be isolated from them in all the means. Control over maintenance and event timing. So if at all like if it is a shared or public resource, then we need to be dependent on the cloud provider. Whenever they are scheduling any maintenance activity, we need to like wait for that time and have our maintenance activity done. But if we have our dedicated resources, then we can have this maintenance activity based on our convenience, aligned with Azure hybrid use benefits. So as I said, it is like something called as a dedicated host. So it is like you are having your own resources, but it is isolated from someone else. So it is also aligned with benefits of hybrid use. Next one is security network connectivity, secure network connectivity. So how our connections can be secured in the network. So in this domain, we will learn about concept and functionalities of defense in depth, network security group, Azure firewall, and Azure DDoS protection. So what is defense in depth? So as you all know, right, there are multiple layers of any application. So like we have physical security, we have network identity and access, we have perimeter, we have network, then compute resources, underneath applications, and base at the base model we have data. So uh, whenever we want, we can have our security in an layered approach. So we can achieve network security at physical level, at identity and access. So it comes as IAM, identity and access management, perimeter like physical boundaries, networks, compute resources, applications and data. So we can have individual security in these levels of security levels. So what the definition says is it is a layered approach to securing computer systems. So we can secure our environment or our enterprise in layered manner. It provides multiple level of product protection, like how I said, we can achieve protection and physical. In these all the levels, we can achieve individually the protection. Okay, so attacks against one layer are isolated from subsequent layer. What does it mean is, if an attack is happening in this layer, but these layers will be isolated, like there will be no impact in other layers. So if you say there is some impact in the network, someone has attacked your network, but since other layers are also protected from some kind of security, so that's why other layers are protected. At least in this case, in network you can provide some other kind of security, in identity and access you can provide certain kind of activity. So if at all there is a single layer attacked, the other layers will be protected. What is the shared security? As in the earlier classes, I explained you about the shared responsibility, like what are the responsibilities of a customer and what are the responsibility of a cloud service provider. Similarly, we have something in similar way for shared security, like whose responsibility in terms of security, whether it is customer's responsibility or the cloud service provider's responsibility. So what exactly the shared responsibility security is? Migrating from customer control to cloud-based data center shift the responsibility for security. Okay, if you are earlier in on premises, so everything, all the like responsibilities where for the customers, like customer has to do data governance and rights management, client endpoint, account and access management, identity and directory infrastructure, application security, network control security, operating system security, physical host security, physical network and physical data center security. So these all the securities were responsibility for the customer, but when we are migrating to cloud, certain security responsibilities are shared among customer and the service cloud provider. Security becomes a shared concern between cloud provider and the customer. Okay, so like IaaS, that means something called as physical infrastructure, like your hard disks and network devices. So in this case, the data center, physical network, and physical host. So these all responsibility comes under the cloud provider, and rest of the responsibility lies with the customer. So these many things in infrastructure as a service has to taken care by the customer only. Now, in terms of platform as a service, just take an example of database. Like you have database Azure SQL database, for an example. You have taken the service. In that case, the operating system and all this, similar to what infrastructure services we had. On top of it, the cloud service provider will have responsibility to secure the operating system as well, and there will be a shared responsibility between the cloud service provider and the customer in case of identity and directory, that means access roles and everything, application and network control. So there will be a shared, means both of the cloud and the customer are responsible for security in identity, application and network controls, and other things lies with the customer only. In case of software as a service, when I say software as a service, just take an example of Outlook. So in this case also, like there will be a shared responsibility, but till the application layer, the security lies with Microsoft. And when comes to the identity and directory infrastructure, there is a shared responsibility shared between the cloud and the customer. Okay, and others like data, client endpoints, and account and management. For an example, like for in our organization, what emails or what SharePoint data we have, that security lies with us. Client endpoints, like how we need to give users access, like whether they want to access it from their personal device or from the organization provided device only. So that also that comes under customer only. And account and access management, like who will be the admin and who will be the end user, and the some other kind of roles. So it is also taken care by the customer. Next one. Any doubts till now? Okay, I'm moving forward to network security groups. Okay, so what network security group is? Network security groups filters network traffic to and from Azure resources on Azure Virtual Network. So as the name suggests, it is a grouping of network traffic rules using which we can filter the network coming in and going out from any of the Azure resources in Azure Virtual Network. What it does, it set inbound and outbound rules to filter by source and destination IP address, port, and protocol. So we can filter. Inbound means incoming request, and outbound means outgoing response. So we can filter all those by using source and destination IP. Source means from XYZ IP address, if it is coming, or uh, to XYZ IP address it is going, so that we can filter out. We can also filter by using the ports, like which ports should be allowed or which port should be denied, and also through the protocols, like it should use HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol, or SSH protocol. So all those things we can configure in network security groups. We can add multiple rules as needed within subscription limits. So there is no limitation. You can create n number of rules. It is based upon your subscription. Azure applies default baseline security rules to new NSCs. So if at all you don't create any network security group, then by default, the default and baseline security rules will be applied to the new securities. And overrides default rules with new and higher priority rules. So it follows priority matrix. So if at all there is a second, there is already a rule defined, but its priority is high, then the highest prior rule will be executed first. So let me give you a demo of it. So let's go to home and go to network security group. Okay, let us create a new security group. It will ask for a resource group, like which resource you want to create. So let me just create the existing one, and name I am giving NSG test one, and I'll just create on review and create. So it has passed the validation. Now I can create it. So it is getting deployed. It is done. So let's go to the resource. So as you can see, we have something called as inbound security rules, and we have outbound security rules. And these are the priorities: 65,000, 65,001, 65,500. So similar way, 65,000, 65,001, 65,500. So as per the means it, we can give any kind of name, and to which like source it has to be deployed. So we can also configure. These are the by default securities. We can add our own. Okay, so this is for virtual network, this one is for Azure load balancer. Okay, and deny all inbound, so it is a deny action. So all those things we can configure. Okay, so let us go into the settings, inbound security rules. So here you can add a new rule. So as I said, it is a source destination. It is based, it filters like source destination, IP address and protocol. So we can configure it here. You can see we have multiple resource sources we can give for like incoming, like from where it is coming. It can come from any resource, any particular IP address, any particular service tag, or any application security group. And source port ranges. So if any specific ports are there, that we can also mention here. Destination, destination also IP address or a particular virtual network or any application security group. So this we can configure. Service, like which protocol you want to configure: HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, RDP. Is it for MS SQL, MySQL, Postgres? So all those, these many protocols we can provide our we can apply this inbound security rule. Destination port ranges, like which applications, for an example, some application is using port 8080. So we can specifically assign any rule for our application which is running for port 8080, and what action it will provide: allow or deny. Priority also we can define, name also we can define. So you just need to provide a description and click on add, and your new uh, inbound security rule will be created like this. When you go there, you will just find whatever you have configured here. Okay, so likewise you can create your own security rules. Any doubts in network security group? Okay, then I'm just moving to the next slide. Okay, thanks, Shilpi. Yeah, the next one is Azure Firewall. So using firewalls also, we can protect our resources from any unwanted attack. So Azure also provides firewall services. What is a Azure Firewall? It is a stateful managed firewall is a service that grants or denies server access based on originating IP address in order to protect network resources. So um, it provide like as the definition suggests, we can provide access or we can deny access based on the originating IP address. Like if some from some XYZ or a particular IP address request is coming and we want to restrict or we want to give access only to particular IP addresses, we can use Azure Firewall. What are its features? Like we can apply inbound and outbound traffic filter rules, like incoming request and outgoing response we can filter using Azure Firewall. It has built-in high availability. It is unrestricted cloud scalability. It uses Azure Monitor logging. Okay, so we can apply inbound outbound traffic filters. It is high available, it is highly scalable, and it uses Azure monitor logging. It also provides something called as web application firewall. So what web application firewall is? It provides centralized inbound protection for your web application. So this firewall is meant for network resources, and this web application firewall is something which protects inbound protection for your web application. So for particular web application also you can provide a firewall. So let me show you. Yeah, so coming to the firewall, here it is. So in firewall, if you click on create firewall, you can see it is asking for the resource group. I'm selecting the default one. I'm giving the name test Azure firewall. As I said, it is high available. So if we want, we can select these zones. Otherwise, for testing purpose, we can skip this part. Otherwise, if you want to make it high available, you can select all the three zones. Firewall tier standard. Firewall management, use a firewall policy to manage this firewall. Firewall policy. So if at all we don't have anything, we can simply select standard policy or we can select a new one. So policy name, we can give policy AZ firewall standard. Okay, so I have created the firewall policy. Choose a virtual network. I think I don't have any virtual network. So okay, create new. So virtual network I am creating VNet Azure firewall. I'm click what is IP, choose public IP addresses. So now I can click on review and click validation required information, which information? Okay. Now click View and Create. Validation is passed. It's created. So you can see here our firewall deployment has started. Yeah, it is created. So virtual network is created and public IP is created and now firewall is being created.
Uh, Deep, one thing, all these things are free or
No,
paid
no,
one?
like see, everything is like paid here. You need
Okay.
to pay for it. Yeah, that's why it is asking me to select for this subscription, right?
Yeah.
So based on subscription only, you will be able to create it.
Okay.
You take an example, like if you want to have a firewall installed in your home network, so for
Mm.
that you invest something on your antivirus, right? So it also acts like a firewall. So it
Yeah.
is also chargeable. So in similar way, uh, this this firewall also is it's being charged. So each and every IP addresses also if you use that is also charged. And
Okay.
if at all you want to use static IP, then static IPs are also charged. So in Azure,
Okay.
I think it is called as elastic IP,
Mm.
and here it is called as static IPs, like how it is called in Windows.
Okay.
So it's still getting created. Okay, we'll see in next 5 minutes. Let's move on. Next one is Azure Distributed Denial of Service Protection. So what is distributed denial of service? Distributed denial of service is like when any application or resource refuse to provide service. When it happens when its resources are completely filled and it cannot take more requests to process. Uh, for an example, I can give you the recent one. All of you might be like few days back, like say around 45 days back, when there was very much scarcity of this COVID-19 vaccination, and everybody was like trying to book their slots, and they were trying to give multiple times request. Then, as you remember, like keep that as well. When the registration started for 18 plus candidates, right? So you might have heard like server failed and it was not able to process request or cannot register the users. So it was because of this DDoS only. It happened because the request came more than their capacity of processing. So because of that, their server crashed and they were not able to process more requests for say their systems were down for say 8 hours or so. So to like if this we should to avoid this situation, Azure provides a protection mechanism called as Azure Distributed Denial of Service Protection. So just to make your system down, some of the outside attackers they will give false requests. Like if at all they don't want to process the request, then also they send a request to your resources and try to make your system unavailable because of this distributed denial of service. Okay, sometimes you see, right, this error 500 server error. So because your environment is not able to process the request. So something like that. What is DDoS? So DDoS attacks overlap and exhaust network resources, making apps slow or unresponsive. Okay, that's what it's saying. If attack is there, then it will exhaust the network resources, making app or your resource slow or unresponsive. So you'll not be able to process your request and get the response from that resource. So this Azure Distributed Denial of Service, what it does, it sanitizes unwanted network traffic before it impacts service availability. The basic service tier is automatic enabled in Azure. If at all you are not subscribing for a higher version of Azure DDoS service, then also a basic service version of a DDoS protection is by default enabled in Azure. So you should not worry if such kind of requests are coming, then your system will not go down because of such DDoS attacks. Standard service tier adds mitigation capability that are turned to protect Azure Virtual Network resources. So above basic service, there is something called a standard tier. It adds mitigation capabilities that are used to protect the resources. So mitigation means it will try to avoid this situation that these resources should not come. Okay, as in this diagram, you can see these are the attackers, and they are trying to access the resources available in your environment. This Azure DDoS protection layer, it will just surpass only those requests which are eligible or which are like not unwanted. They are a genuine request, so it will surpass um, filter all the unwanted resources and let the genuine resources pass to access your network resources. So let us see if our resource is available. Yeah, the firewall is up. Okay, so here you can see the firewall policies. Here you can see the firewall rules. Okay, visit firewall manager to configure and manage firewall. So once we go there, we can see here we have Azure firewall policies, add security to virtual hubs, add security to virtual networks. So using this Azure Firewall Manager, we can provide firewall policies and we can view the secured virtual hubs, and we can provide security to this virtual networks as well. Okay, so next, moving on to our slide. What is defense in this defense in depth reviewed? So as I already mentioned, like we can provide security in multiple layers like physical layer, this identity and access, perimeter, network, compute, application, and data. So combining network security solution, we can achieve this DDoS. For an example, we can combine network security groups as well as Azure Fire. We can to protect our networks, compute resources, application, and data. The perimeter layer protects your network boundaries with Azure DDoS protection and Azure Firewall. So when you see this perimeter, so here we can deploy our Azure DDoS protection as well as firewall. So it will provide a boundary, a boundary for the attacks not to happen. Network layer only permits traffic to pass between network resources with network security groups, inbound and outbound rules. Okay, so if network layer only provides like whosoever we have given permission to come in or go out. Okay, so by this we can achieve a complete layered solution for our Azure resources. So today we discussed about Azure Security Center, resource hygiene, Key Vault, Sentinel, dedicated hosts, defense in depth, and DDoS protection. So let me just show you how security center looks like. So you need to go here and write security center. So here you can see your secure score, like how we have something called as I forget the name, but some benchmark is there, right? If you want to have some loan or something, then your CIBIL score, yeah. So like how we have our CIBIL score, similar way, Azure provides something called as secure score. So it should be something like some good number of points, say 900 out of 1000 or something like that. Then only you can consider your environment to be secured. So here we can get, if you click on this improve your secure score, then it will provide dedicated tailor-made suggestions like what all you can do to improve your secure score. It also provides compliance details like what all things are compliant or not. So out out of 40, 34 resources, security resources have passed this control. So there is some issue with six of the resources related to compliance. Okay, you can see here, you can see one Azure subscription is there. X, how many resources accessed? One. And how many active recommendations? So one recommendation is there. If I click on this, it will say me where I need to do some changes. So what is unhealthy? Let me see where it is read. So it is saying me to enable Azure Defender. It is saying me to enable the Azure Defender for Resource Manager. So, so that if I enable it, my system will be more secure. Okay, so this kind of suggestions and recommendations provided by the security center. And if you see the defender here it has to be enabled. So if I enable here, this one recommendation will go away and it will be 0. And this is the firewall manager, like how many firewalls, how many firewall policies, how many regions are there with firewall. So everything we can see here. See, one virtual network is there with the firewall. So all those things we can see here in the security center. Here you can see this symbol states if it is a blue, then there is no issue with it. If it is an I, like this kind of this means you have to look into it. It is like warning kind of symbol. And if it is a red, then it is an error. So you need to straight away go and see where you can rectify that issue. So as I mouse over it, it is saying me to enable the Azure Defender. So this is the Azure Defender. And when I see this warning symbol, so it is saying enable email notification to subscription owner for high alert should be enabled. So for an example, as I said, security center provides email notifications. So either it is an email notification or SMS notification or some other kind of notifications. So I need, as it is saying that I should update my email ID or I should update the email notification so that I should get notification if any of the threats or any alarm is there regarding the security of my enterprise or my resources. So this is all about the security center. If you want to see more, you need to click here and it is asking me which kind of role I should have and all those things. So once you do all those things, you will see a wider range of security center features. So anyone has any doubts? We are done with the session today.